Good morning, and welcome to the Boulder Valley Unitarian Universalist Fellowship. Because of the Marshall Fire and its effect on our congregation and the communities around us, we are changing the service from the original theme of New Year's intentions. Today, we are all participating via Zoom. The music has already been recorded. And please, as we work with the technology, be patient. I'm actually, so you know that I am running on a couple different screens. I have the mic over here, the camera over here. So even if I'm not looking at you, I might be, or you're not, I'm not looking at the camera, I might be looking at you in the Zoom community. So just to be aware of the technical differences and how it might feel from an in-person service. Following the service, during our normal virtual coffee hour, we will have some time with the Caring Council, and they will be offering facilitated breakout rooms where folks can share their stories and connect with one another after this traumatic event. Of course, you're free to click off after the service if you prefer, but if you'd like to have some deeper sharing time with a smaller group of people, that will be available for you. I am Lisa Moore. I am the intern minister here, and I'm joined today by Reverend Lydia Ferrante Roseberry, Ted and Emily Coriath, Carmen Sandom, and Mary Stackpole are providing the music, and our AV tech, Deborah Mensch. Her behind the scenes support helps us be together here today, and she is a blessing and a saint of Unitarian Universalism in her own right, so thank you. As I say the welcome words today, I invite you to shift into gallery mode if you haven't already done so, and scroll through the screens so that you can experience the lovely diversity of this congregation, because without it and without you, there would be no us. You are all welcome here today in all the beauty of languages, cultures, skin tones, shapes, and sizes that come together in your uniqueness. You are welcome here. In all the ways you experience and express gender, you are welcome here. In the beauty that is who you love and how you love, you are welcome here. In all the ways you make your living and the places you are from, you are welcome here. Christian, pagan, humanist, Jew, Muslim, Unitarian Universalist, with all the traditions that inform your spiritual life, you are welcome here today. No matter how long you are away, nor how soon you will return, you are welcome here. Whether you come with laughter in your heart or tears, you are welcome here. You are invited to join us with an open mind, a loving heart, and willing hands. We welcome you here today. This congregation is committed to being a center for spiritual exploration and justice making. We have many opportunities during the week for social connection and spiritual growth. We acknowledge that the land surrounding us is on the stolen territory of the Arapaho people, and that many tribes roamed freely on this land for millennia before the arrival of white settlers. We commit ourselves to anti-racism and anti-oppression work within and beyond our congregation. If you're new here, we're glad that you found us and hope that in this virtual community, you can experience the warmth and love of this congregation. Each Sunday is a little different here, so please come back a few times to really get to know us. And if you want to get better connected, please see the chat window for the link to our first-time visitors page and the email of our office manager, Carol Pranchke. If you're not receiving connections weekly, please sign up at the last link in the chat. This is a low traffic email list. And is also a place to get news about the signing up for in-person seating for future services. And finally, if any new visitors would like to introduce yourselves in the chat, please do. We'd love to get to know who is among us. All are invited to stay for announcements in the virtual coffee hour and sharing circles after the service. So if you have a chalice at home with me, you can light it with me. And I'm going to go up to the chalice now and get that started and say the words. We light this chalice for the warmth of love, the light of truth, and the energy of action. And now I'll sing our bowl again, inviting it to draw you deeper into this present moment and this, our beloved community.
Beloveds, it is so beautiful to see your faces today, even on these little tiny screens. In fact, for me, actually having us all in one place is a little easier because I can see who's amongst us today. I did want to welcome also Samar Abayate and Carlton Elliott Smith from the Pacific Western region who are here with us today and will be speaking a little bit later in the service. Here we are gathered again with another tragedy, another one, piled on top of us in a world that can't seem to shake the pandemic, in a nation whose fragile democracy is threatened, in a community that is barely recovering from the mass shooting of just 9 months ago, let alone whatever else is happening in our personal lives. Again, we find ourselves in crisis. After over 900 houses and other structures burned in a matter of hours on Thursday, displacing thousands of people, among them some of our fellowship families, killing countless animals and devastating our landscape. Whole neighborhoods gone. Our familiar stores gone. Our favorite hiking trails gone. And now the smell of burnt everything lingers in our air, reminding those nearby of all that has been lost. It's been 3 days and we're only beginning to assess the total damage, only beginning to comprehend its impact, only beginning to feel beyond the shock of it all. With so much loss and devastation right here in front of us, on top of the mounds of losses of these past few years, the collective grief and trauma continues to accumulate. So it makes sense for even the most resilient of us to cry out to the universe, enough already, enough, enough. I think of biblical stories during these times. I think of Job, who cries out to God. I think of Jesus, who cries out to God. I think of all the places where suffering has happened. And we want to ask that question: why? Enough already, enough. It's okay to lament. There is lamenting to do. As I said, we know 4 families who lost their homes. The fellowship families that we know of now are Cindy Stark Reed and her husband Joe, Amy and Paul Austin, Kathleen Jeffries, and Carol Mark Harper and Janie Hughes. There may be others of you joining us today who have lost your homes as well. To all of you and to everyone else who lost their homes, I can't begin to comprehend the magnitude of your loss and the myriad of feelings and states of being that you are experiencing. But I can assure you that I and we, this fellowship, are here to accompany you, to support you, and to love you through this. We Unitarian Universalists have a hearty theology. We have confidence in our human capacity not only to endure, but to overcome life's obstacles. We are anchored in this world, making us often the first responder to social injustices and crises. We have a leaning towards making this world a better place. And the softer side of our covenantal theology reminds us that all of us will have times of strength and times of challenge, and that we are here to care for one another and allow ourselves to be cared for. Our Universalist heritage reminds us of an abiding love much larger than we can fathom, that will not let us go. This, what we are experiencing here, my beloveds, is a collective trauma on top of collective traumas. All of us are impacted, but by varying degrees, of course. All of us will need some care. So let me take some time today to remind you that whatever you may be feeling today in this moment, be it a hearty resilience and a capacity to help, or if you're just plain weepy, it's real and it's okay. And I offer you some suggestions as we journey together. They're in no particular order. Be gentle with yourselves and with others. Trauma and compounded complex trauma that continues impacts our ability to function well. There's no doubt about it. Our brains and our bodies are tired. So let go of perfectionism. You'll probably lock your keys in the car again, or forget an appointment, or burn something on the stove. It's all a part of it. And see if maybe you can even find a little lightness and a little humor as these missteps happen. 2, tell your stories as you are ready. Storytelling is so important for healing. And we'll be having some of that, as you heard, following this service in our breakout rooms. But also, as you're doing so, be attentive to the circles of impact. Imagine concentric circles with the most impacted people at the center. In general, make listening your primary objective when you're leaning in towards those who are most impacted. And in general, share your own stories, your own impacts, your own trauma out to those who may be less impacted. They're likely to have a little more capacity. 3rd, take breaks. Choose rest before your body mandates it. It does none of us any good to march on until we collapse. This is not a marathon. This is a marathon. It's not a sprint. Each of our bodies have early warning systems like our dashboard that lights up. Pay attention to those and stop before your body requires it. That said, remind each other to rest. We can all tell each other that we can rest and someone else can pick up some of this burden. I know that rest can be scary because it can make space for the more difficult feelings to arise. So when that happens, make sure you have safe people and places to allow for that. 4, move, stretch, walk, shake. It's even as simple as massaging your fingers or moving your jaw, massaging your jaw, moving your fingers, make funny faces in the mirror, anything to help your body release what needs to be released. Connect with nature. Now, this might be harder now for some of you, depending upon where you live, but even looking out the window at trees can bring some respite to your soul. 6, get extra support, maybe even before you need it. If you have a therapist from long ago, reconnect with them. Connect with the fellowship ministers, me and Lisa, or our lay pastoral care associates. Connect in your covenant groups. Connect to friends and neighbors. Get that extra support and welcome it. And finally, allow for moments of grace, mystery, and even joy in the midst of this. Ironically, it was just 9 days ago on Christmas Eve that as I was reflecting on the nativity story, I was looking at it this year as to how suffering has always existed. But in the nativity story, we see angels, stars, and the miracle of each new life arise in this suffering. It reminds me that mystery and even joy exist alongside whatever we are enduring. Beloveds, this is a hard time for all of us. It is a gift that we have each other. May you always know that in this congregation, you will be cared for and you'll be asked to care for others as you are able. My heart is with us all. We are strong and we will get through this together. Blessed be.
There is a saying that it takes a village to raise a child. It's a good saying. And I was thinking about that saying during this time of loss and trauma. And I was thinking and feeling about you, the people of this fellowship. And that saying, it became kind of started to change and morph into something more as I thought about all of you. It takes a community to maintain a village. This community, beloved, covenanted with all your joys and all your losses, you show up perfectly imperfect. You come here when you need something, and you come here when you have something to give, and you come here just to be. When things are normal, if there is really such a thing, which I'm really kind of doubting, those are the times when the bond of this community is strengthened. So when a catastrophe such as the Marshall Fire happens, the fibers of this community remain strong, kind of like muscles, where you don't just go and lift 500 pounds or 100 pounds at once. You slowly work the muscle and the fibers, and it even causes a little bit of damage, and then you let it rest and it grows a little bit bigger and a little bit stronger. And so as somebody who uses muscles, as we all do, we notice that you start out maybe with a very light weight. You start out doing a little bit. You let it rest, and you come back and you find that you can do a little bit more, and you rest the muscles, and then you come back, and then you find out they're able to do even a little bit more. And that is what I've seen in this community. You do a little bit more, step away, rest, come back, and you can do more. And it's amazing. I'm here, for lack of a better term that was coming to me, but on something kind of like a temporary visa. I'm part of this community, but not for a long time. I leave in June. So I guess it's kind of like I'm with you, but not quite of you, because I will have to go away. That's one of the not part fun things of being an intern, is to be in this community and then have to leave for a while. But one of the benefits is I get to watch you. And I get to watch you be yourselves, inviting me in and inviting everybody in. And the one thing I'm constantly amazed by is how you have worked so hard to create this loving, sacred fellowship, all in your own individual ways, with your strengths and your weaknesses. You are a community that makes a village flourish, and it strengthens my heart to witness it. And sometimes even this community can wear down. Any community can. The muscles fatigue and need to rest, to mend and re-strengthen. And so in this community, you are not alone. You're part of something even bigger. We are. And it's the UUA. If and when we need help, they are here. And that's one of the blessings that this community is part of. So as you go forth, as Lydia said, rest and tend to yourself. And if you have the capacity, help to tend to others. And I know after being here and watching you for a year and a half, you have that capacity, and you have the capacity to ask. Amen, and blessed be.
sing our thanks and praise, for all life is a gift which we are called to use to build the common good and make our own days glad. For needs which others serve, for services we give, for work and its rewards, for hours of rest and love, we come with praise and thanks. For all that is our life, for sorrow we must bear, for failures, pain, and loss, for each new thing we learn, for fearful hours that pass, we come with praise and thanks. For all that is our life, for all that is our life, we sing our thanks and praise, for all life is a gift which we are called to use to build the common good and make our own days glad.
Good morning, members and friends of Boulder Valley Unitarian Universalist Fellowship. I'm Reverend Carlton E. Smith, and I serve as lead for the Pacific Western region of our Unitarian Universalist Association, which Lisa already mentioned. And I'm here today with Reverend Summer L. Beatty, the person on our Pacific Western region team who serves as your primary contact with our UUA. I also give a shout out to Jessica Lakeman, PWR's Camping Ministries Director, and of course, your Director of Lifespan Faith Formation. We join you today in solidarity following the Marshall Fire, which brought so much devastation to your communities and for some of you, to your very homes. We give thanks for the powerful and faithful leaders that you have, like Reverend Lydia, Lisa, and all of you who reached out to check in on people and make sure that they were okay. We give thanks that in the midst of so much property loss, that the physical harm to individuals seems to have been minimal. We give thanks that things are as well as they are. And we give thanks for our Unitarian Universalist Association and the covenant among our member congregations, coast to coast and beyond, to support one another in crises like this one. We give thanks for the Mountain Desert District, of which BVUUF is a part, and is now in the process of merging with other Pacific Western districts to officially become the Pacific Western region. The MDD board generously transferred MDD's separate disaster relief funds to the UUA Disaster Relief Fund last year. We encourage those of you who need financial support from the UUA Disaster Relief Fund to apply for it. We're going to put the link in the chat. Some of you might consider giving to the fund as well, and that link will be there as well. Now, Reverend Summer, would you like to share a bit?
Thank you, Reverend Carlton. Thank you. Oh, beloveds, we of the Pacific Western region at the Unitarian Universalist Association, we weep with you. We grieve with you. All I could think was no. As Reverend Lydia said, why? That's all I could think when I heard of this disastrous fire engulfing parts of Colorado. Beloveds, no, that we are here with you always. I find that I am just praying with Colorado so much and with Boulder Valley UU Fellowship. My heart breaks. And as my heart breaks, my heart expands as well to reach out to all of you. Please know that you are loved. We love you so, so much. My prayers are that you find healing in the weeks to come, that you rest, that you take care of one another, and that you realize that it's community that helps us to go on, that gives us hope. I was so amazed to hear how Reverend Jen Simon and UURJ was there for you, providing home hospitality for those who needed it. That is what it means to be a part of this larger faith, this Unitarian Universalist faith. Our association of congregations reach out to one another. Reach out to us. We are here for you, and we are always here for you. In your pain and suffering, in your grief, and in your joy when you want to celebrate. We are here always. Beloveds, blessings and love always, and please know you are loved beyond belief. Amen. Blessed be. Ashe.
Thank you, Reverend Summer. In Boulder Valley, we leave you with these words by Reverend Wayne Arneson, found in our hymnal, Singing the Living Tradition. Take courage, friends. The way is often hard. The path is never clear, and the stakes are very high. Take courage, for deep down there is another truth. You are not alone.
Thank you, Carlton and Summer. Each week, we remind ourselves of the abundance of our lives and this community by giving half the plate away to the organizations that share our values. However, at this time of year, for these few weeks around the holiday season, we give the entire plate, and it goes to the minister's discretionary fund. And today specifically, the entire offering will be earmarked for those who are directly within the community who are directly affected by the Marshall Fire. Any remaining funds after those needs are met will be donated to another Marshall Fire Fund. So please give that generously as the plate passes, which you are renowned for. You do that so much. And as our musical reflection begins, I would like to invite you to write in the chat answer to this question. How do you find solace after a crisis? For the work of this fellowship, bringing love, reason, and compassion and justice to this world, we dedicate our offerings.
Now I'm going to invite us into our time of community connection, our weekly time of sacred sharing. If you have a joy or a concern to share, you can do so by typing in the chat, or if you like, you can use the raised hand button to speak. So if you're on a computer, you can click reactions at the bottom of the screen and then click raise hand. On a phone, tap more at the bottom of the screen and then click raised hand. And then Deborah will call on you when it's your turn. She'll be watching for those little hands that go up. However you share, please do include your name and where you live, and let us know briefly what is in your heart today. I'll read aloud what is shared in the chat, and Lisa will add a stone to our sacred waters on your behalf right there in the sanctuary. And also, please remember that we'll be having sharing circles and breakout rooms following the service for more in-depth sharing about the fire. But our lives are full of complexities and joys and challenges. So I welcome now your sharing of joys and concerns. Lisa, would you add two final three actually, final stones for me into our sacred waters? One for all the healthcare workers and the first responders in this area who have been so beleaguered with our tragedies. Also for all of those who are experiencing the challenges of COVID, which still rages in our community and in our state right now. And all of us who are trying to navigate 2+ years in a pandemic. And then one last stone, as always, for all of those joys and concerns that remain in the silent sanctuary of our hearts, knowing that even in our silence, we are bound together in the web of life. Beloveds, take a couple of deep breaths with me. Remind yourself as you breathe slowly that in this moment, with you, your breath, and this community, you are safe. In this moment, with so much that has happened around us, let your breath be an anchor to just this present moment. In this moment, when our losses are so great, let your breath be a vivid reminder of our profound interconnection with each other and with all of creation. In this moment, when there is so much sorrow and so much love, let your breath embody taking in what it needs and giving out what it can. Spirit of life, great mystery beyond all our imagining. Today we gathered, humbled again by what is before us. Some of us here are strong, others barely hanging on. Each of us part of the web of creation, each of us worthy. Here together, we remember our bonds. Here together, may we lean upon each other. Here together, may we heal. Spirit of life and of love, humbly we gather here today, aware of our strengths and our limitations, seeking to serve, allowing ourselves to be cared for, all within a great circle of abiding love. May each of us feel that love surrounding us in these challenging moments and always. Blessed be.
When our heart is in a holy place, when our heart is in a holy place, we are blessed with love and amazing grace. When our heart is in a holy holy place, when our heart is in a holy place, when our heart is in a holy place, we are blessed with love and amazing grace, when our heart is in a holy place. When we tell our story from deep inside, and we listen with a loving mind, and we hear our voices in each other's words, then our heart is in a holy place. When our heart is in a holy place, when our heart is in a holy place, we are blessed with love and amazing grace, when our heart is in a holy place. When we share the silence of sacred space, and the God of our heart stirs within, and we feel the power of each other's faith, then our heart is in a holy place. When our heart is in a holy place, when our heart is in a holy place, we are blessed with love and amazing grace, when our heart is in a holy place, when our heart is in a holy place.
Even recorded on Zoom, the music that we have here is just awesome. So thank you to all the beautiful artists and musicians and techs who make that all possible. I have a few announcements here. Tomorrow is Wendell Wall's memorial. It will be tomorrow, Monday, January 3rd, and it's going to be here at the fellowship at 12:30. Due to the COVID surge, we're having the family and close friends here in person, masked and vaccinated, and requesting that any of the other fellowship acquaintances please watch the service on the Sunday Zoom link. It's on the front page of our website, and they're also posting information into the chat. From the reservations team, the reservations team has put the process of requesting in-person seats on hold until after this coming Tuesday's meeting of the COVID response team. So if you haven't seen a seat request form, don't worry about it. The forms will go out once we have heard from the COVID team about when in-person services can resume. Again, a reminder, immediately after the service, we will have facilitated breakout rooms for anyone who would like to share more deeply about the impacts of the Marshall Fire with a smaller group. Deborah will help you join one of these rooms if you wish to stay for that. And then from 1 to 3 today, Reverend Lydia and I will be at the fellowship to host a sharing circle for those who need some masked in-person time to process all these events. If you'd like to offer support or need support following the fires, the fellowship has set up an email for coordinating needs and offers, and see the link for that email, or see the link for the email address in the chat. Reverend Lydia and Christian Olivio are offering a workshop in words and art designed to help us reflect back on this past year. It's called the Janus Workshop, and it also looks ahead to our goals and dreams for 2022. Join them for part or all of the time on Saturday, January 15th from 10 to 4 a.m. and also Sunday, January 16th from 12:30 to 3:30. It'll be in person in the fellowship hall if COVID allows. Otherwise, we'll adapt and switch to Zoom. And the sign up is going into the chat. And so now we extinguish the chalice, but not the light of love, the warmth of truth, or the energy of action. These we carry in our hearts until we meet again. Our benediction is from Darcy Rourke. There is too much hardship in this world to not find joy. Every day. There is too much injustice in this world to not right the balance. Every day. There's too much pain in this world not to heal. Every day. Each of us ministers to a weary world. Let us go forth and do that which calls us to make this world more loving, more compassionate, and more filled with grace, with the grace of divine presence every day. Amen, and blessed be.